So, many are called, but few are chosen. And the reason is, to be one of the chosen ones, you have to choose. And it is an everyday choice of listening to this message and this higher purpose inside. Discernment is the key. So when you walk into a conference, you could ask, number one, first, you always protect yourself. Just don't assume there's 1,001 light beings in that room.
Mm-hmm.
Fine, there may be only 3 light beings, and the rest are really either neutral or have been taken over in some way, shape, or form, kind of like Nixon did with the marijuana and the activists in the 70s to derail, the hippie movement. It's being derailed in the light New Age movement. Just well.
Revolution Radio proudly presents, live from the heart of the Blue Ridge, Roanoke, Virginia. It's the Just Bernard Show with host Bernard Alvarez. Join Bernard as he shares topics that reveal the real matrix and empower your human experience, including world liberty, the esoteric, suppressed technologies, spiritual ascension, and human consciousness. Humanity has awakened, and our time has come to realize our full potential. And now, live from the Star City, your host, Bernard Alvarez.
Anyway, so let me tell you a little bit about my guest today. I'm very excited to have her on. I've been watching her work for the last several years. I believe I actually watched her on last year's Portal to Ascension conference. And many of you might know her as Joan of Angels. She is Dr. Joan Pangarder. She is a transformational healer, visionary artist, and a personal consultant for entrepreneurs, visionaries, and others to manage during these legendary times. She has had the gift of clairsentience, clairaudience, and clairvoyance since early childhood, and uses these tools to assist you in letting go of blockages that keep you from remembering who you are. Her work aligns your body, your mind, and your spirit to raise your vibrational frequencies and turn on your power. In 2013, she was guided to paint 33 angels in 30 days, thus becoming a visionary artist whose work allows you to feel the presence of the spirit. As an intuitive, she helps you gain clarity and to step into your true nature. So without further ado, let me welcome Joan of Angels to the Just Bernard Show. Welcome, Joan. How are you today?
Oh my God, I'm just fabulous. I'm so excited to be on your show, Bernard. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I've been looking forward to this show today, actually, for several weeks, and I'm glad it's finally here today. I've been wanting to hear your story. So, Joan, why don't we start with that? Tell us a little bit about how you came to work with angelic beings and how they came into your life.
What a great question, Bernard. I'm going to give you a shortened version. So know that I'm a Pisces and I've been an empath my entire life. So I think from childhood they showed up, but it wasn't, and I am a chiropractor by trade, so I've been a doctor and a healer for many years, but I was in a very deep, dark despair in the around 2012-13. And I started to receive these messages. It was Halloween 2013, and I received these messages to paint 33 angels in 30 days. And they said to me, look, Joan, your way has not worked. Are you ready to listen now? What else can we do to you? Now, I'm telling you this in this way because I think there's people who understand what that means.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and that's why I'm even saying it that way. So they showed me the 33 angels, and I painted them in 30 days. And I put them up in the loft where I lived. It became the angel loft. And they started talking. And a book fell off the shelf that said, your call for angelic assistance has been heard. And that began my journey, where they then began to come to me and ask, literally ask and tell me what to paint. And I learned in that period how to align my own body, mind, and spirit, I guess, to bring in messages, and then to help align others to bring in what we want, to go where, to do our work finally on the planet. So that's how it began.
Wonderful. And you know what I find so amazing about how you're sharing this is that so many of us on this path, and those of us who have had spiritual awakenings or contact, whether with transdimensional entities, angelic beings, extraterrestrials, we seem to have gone through some type of dark night of the soul, for lack of a better term. It's like you can almost say that those who have gone through the process of awakening know the hardest parts of life and really give us, it seems to catalyze us into that higher realm of clarity. Do you find any parallels with that?
Well, absolutely. In fact, my first time I lost everything was in 1998, and I wrote a book about it. In fact, people can get it. It's called The Miracle Makers Club. And it was, again, how we lost everything and had to learn to refine ourselves to launch miracles. And so every time we go through those tests, and they are tremendous tests, the more we've committed to spirit before we've come here to live a high purpose, the harder the knocks are, the obstacles that we have to learn to transform. That is the master's path.
Oh,
So
I couldn't agree more. Absolutely. So, Joan, tell us a little bit. When you began, did you see the beings? Were they light beings? What do these angelic beings look like? How do they appear to you, or is it strictly sensory apparition?
Okay, they come to me several ways, Bernard. Sometimes I'll just see like a movie screen in front of me, and all these beings will show up like around a corner. So I guess that's when I'm a medium for these beings. They do come from spirit. They're high frequency. And those beings want to hop on a canvas through me, literally, so that their humans can find them. All right? So sometimes I can just close my eyes, and I swear an hour or two later, the most amazing beings have shown up, and they're beautiful. And I'll go online with them, and within a few hours, they're sold, because people go, oh my God, that's me. And so there's a calling for some of them. In the beginning, it was crazy, Bernard. I closed my eyes. I became a paintbrush. I would feel them. So now sometimes, like, I'll go in the garage, like last night. I have a painting I thought I finished 6 months ago. And I got a message last night to take her into my garage, my studio, and she wanted jewelry. And she wanted more sparkles, and she didn't like the color of her dress, and could I please fix her up? So that's usually a sign that they're getting ready for someone to find them. It's like, please put makeup on us. And they show it to me. They'll just say, put a sparkle here, glitter here, more paint, please. And I don't know how I hear it, feel it, but before you know it, I'm having a great time decorating.
That sounds great. It's almost like, it's kind of like that inspirational, I talk about it all the time, aligning with their vibration, and they speak to you freely. Absolutely. Tell us a bit, could you tell us a little bit of how your relationship with the beings, with these angelic beings that are coming to you, how did that evolve into doing service for humanity, into healing humanity, or working with people on an individual level? How did that evolve?
Well, actually, Bernard, I've been working with people my entire life as a counselor, as a chiropractor, as a healer, as a teacher. So I actually have never stopped working with people. But what shifted is that I went back and I read my vision statements from years ago. And every vision statement usually goes like, to align your body, mind, and spirit to lift your vibration. And I went back and I saw this in all my marketing over the last 10 years. So I've been doing this a long time. What's different is that because I'm now working on the highest of realms with the angelic, I have more information, I guess I could say. They're showing me more ways of clearing people's energy, and they've helped me create these 7 steps to initiation, because I'm painting them. I'm painting these portals. And then I see, and then the portals explain to me more. So through my art and the coaching, we're all suddenly aligned together. Maybe it was the spirit piece I had to call into place. So I was told in 2006, before I lost everything, that I wouldn't regain it until I was 100% aligned. And now I understand what they mean. And that's what they mean for all of us, that to do what we really came here to do, being aligned is the key.
Ah, very good. And how does that alignment look to, and I don't want to say to the layman, but how does that alignment look to those of us who really don't understand the energetic or the alchemical work that needs to be done? What are some key steps that people can do to realign with this master plan, so to speak?
Well, let me just give you a real key to help understand where you're at right now, okay?
Yeah.
And I do it very simply. And so the audience, all of you guys out there, and women, men, other beings, you can hear it. Imagine that there's a horizontal line in front of you. And on the left is the number 0. On the right is the number 10. And there's a clock hand. And the clock hand can go from 0 to 10. 0 is you're half dead. You're all dead. Your vitality is nothing. Okay? 5 means you're just beginning to see the light. And 10 is you're on fire. Okay? When you're aligned, when your energy is flowing freely, then health, wealth, happiness can happen. So 10 is alignment. So, okay, do this for me, Bernard, since it's just you and I right now. I want you to close your eyes. All right? And imagine this horizontal line that I'm showing with you. And so on a scale of 1 to 10, how aligned do you feel with doing the work you came here to do?
On a scale of 1 to 10?
Yes.
Right now, my intuition is saying an 8.
An 8. Okay. All right. Well, see, so the first thing I'm showing you is that each of you can say, oh my God, here I am. I'm at a 2, I'm at a 4, I'm at an 8. The goal is to be at a 10, because when we're at a 10, the divine beings can connect with us a lot easier. And we're almost like a direct, not almost, excuse me, we become a direct, like a lightning rod in our head, in our consciousness, going through our crown chakra to the heavens. We suddenly can become crystal clear and download the information we've been waiting for. When that alignment goes through your body, when there's nothing in the way of you being who you are and what you're meant to do, Bernard, you'll be a 10. And you know what happens when you're a 10? I'm going to tell you. You say, no, Joan, tell me. And
tell me, Joan, tell me.
When you're a 10, this is for everyone, you can literally feel your heart sing. Like everyone says, how do I know I'm doing the right thing? Well, your heart will either thud, like don't go in that direction, it's a thud. So the frequency of that's a 2. Or your heart will sing and it'll say, yes, bring me more. So we could take this one step further, Bernard. You said, you asked me to show you, and I want everyone to experience this. So how do we know, besides that thud or whatever, we can actually look at the energy of something? So let's say we want to look at the energy of a date. Okay, for those of you who are going out of dates, or a relationship. Let's look at the energy of a relationship. It could be a friend, it could be a partner, it could be a family member. All right, so look at that relationship, and then again on a scale of 1 to 10, and Bernard, you can do that. You don't have to tell us who it's with, but on a scale of 1 to 10, where does that meter go now on your energy with that person? How do you feel when you're with them?
Mm. Are you asking me?
Yes.
I would say I don't have anybody that I'm thinking about, so.
Okay. Well, I'm only asking. You don't have to do it like that, but I'm telling people this is what you do.
Right,
so you look,
right.
and so if your energy when you're with that person, you feel like dull, and you go, oh my God, I feel like I'm half dead. I get depressed. My energy is low. I'm a 3. I'm a 4. That may not be the right person for you. It may be better to seek people who, when you're with them, inspire you, make you feel better, like our radio show right now, people who uplift you. So you can look at the energy of your relationship. You can look at the energy of your health. And that's what I help people do, Bernard. My work that's evolved, I call it Power On, because I help you locate that master switch in your body and literally turn it on so you can learn how to align, and then I teach you how to keep that alignment.
That's wonderful, and boy do we need that in today's day and age. So many of us have been disconnected from, not only from nature, like physical nature, but from our spiritual nature. And it sounds like your method is brings us one step closer to aligning with our divine self.
I believe that your audience are beings that know that they're here for a mission and a purpose. And part of it is happening right now. We were born for these weird, chaotic times that are happening. And this is the time that we either kind of fall down into the 3D and panic, or we remember that we're masters and that we're in training, and we learn how to manage ourselves. That's what I mean by body, mind, and spirit alignment, turning on our power so we can start receiving our instructions from the divine, so we can be a source of leadership and inspiration and not fall apart in the next few years as things undergo their shift, of which I believe the outcome will be positive.
Yes, here. And I do find that, it's very interesting, Joan. I don't know exactly how long you've been a part of how shall we say, the spiritual community, online, social media, radio shows, etc., etc. But even within that, I see so much of a shift, and I've seen so many people fall into, people who I would consider my mentors, my leaders, fall to the wayside and just become these angry, hateful, divisive media personalities, for lack of a better term. And I wonder what you could share, or what would the angels say to us? What are your guides saying to those of us who already have that little spark, who know that we are here for a specific reason, but seem to be getting pulled and sucked into the muck, and just can't shake it? Is there any guidance for those of us that are aware but are being shaken by it so deeply?
Great question. Okay, this is the ultimate of tests, number 1. Number 2, remembering that they are throwing everything at us. And that includes many people who were considered light workers who really, in the end, have become dark workers. So, many are called, but few are chosen. And the reason is, to be one of the chosen ones, you have to choose. And it is an everyday choice of listening to this message and this higher purpose inside. Discernment is the key. So when you walk into a conference, you could ask, number 1, first, you always protect yourself. Just don't assume there's 1,001 light beings in that room.
Mm-hmm.
Fine, there may be only 3 light beings, and the rest are really either neutral or have been taken over in some way, shape, or form, kind of like Nixon did with the marijuana and the activists in the 70s to derail, the hippie movement. It's being derailed in the light New Age movement, just well. And so discernment. What's your energy? What's the energy of the room? These are tools I'm teaching now. How do you figure it out? Because I went to a UFO conference 2 years ago, Contact in the Desert. Yes. And I went for the day. I only lived 20 miles, 20 minutes away. I came home. And normally, I have never seen this before in my life. I actually saw military officers. Like when, I told you in the beginning, I see these beings of light. Suddenly, I saw all this military. And I had been somehow remote viewed back. And I hadn't thought to put up all my shields. And for whatever reason, what was going on at contact, not a very light being place. And so that's what happens if you're not careful.
And what was the outcome of your experience there? Did you end up having a good experience?
Oh, well, yeah, yes. But first of all, I had to clear my own energy and put my protection around because no one's supposed to penetrate my defenses, okay? Yeah. It was a reminder, okay, a reminder. So how many of you are actually not doing that? And then the second thing that happened is, yes, I went back the next day, but I had my protection on, and I had an attitude of what I call my wings fluffed. In other words, I was on the job. My high energy. So how do we combat falling into the 3D? One of it is we step into the higher frequency of who we are. Kind of like the Matrix, you could be, either asleep. I don't know. There's two different phases we could be in. We could either be wandering around feeling lost and confused in the 3D world, or we could step out of it into our higher conscious body and deal with it.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I speak of that often, that one of my teachers, my first shamanic teacher, taught me that and I'm speaking in terms of shamanism, but this goes for anybody, is to have the ability to alter your state of consciousness at will and to be aware of what level of consciousness you're at. And that brings me to my next question for, let's say, the average layperson who has to work, 40 hours a week, have to pay the bills, they have, family they have to take care of, busy. And yes, we have to utilize the ego as a tool to take care of this stuff, but what are some points of advice, perhaps, to those that are in the day-to-day, 9 to 5, working, family, et cetera, paying bills and whatnot? How can one maintain that and still be able to pull themselves and raise their vibration on a regular way? Or is there a method to do that 24/7, even while you're working your daily grind, so to speak?
Okay, great question. Okay, for all my brethren there who are in the trenches, just know that you can, at any time, learn how to raise your frequency, okay, so that it becomes more of your mantra, or becomes more of you're in a state of grace as you walk through it. Why would that help? Well, then you attract the parking spot you need, the money you need, the connections you need. It becomes more of a state of grace and ease. Also, it gives, so stepping into your higher frequency allows then that you're more guided by spirit. So the tools are to help you walk through the world but not be in the world. And that's really part of our meditation. Humans have always had, not all of us have been able to live lives in the monastery or up in the mountains, so this lifetime we're being told you have to be a master in the trenches. Okay? So there you have it. It's actually your tool of breaking free is right then and there. In other words, when you're boss and you have a conflict, how do you handle it? Well, you're being told to detach, step from above, actually understand the connection and what you're learning, and then you'll have a new way of being.
So basically, step back and, be the observer, right?
Yeah, be the observer and look at the big picture. Like I did a reading for someone many years ago, a young woman who at 14 had been injured.
Oh, looks like we're up on a break, Joan. We'll be back in just a moment. Hold that thought. I want to hear about the reading that you did. And when we return, we're going to continue our discussion with Joan of Angels. We'll be right back, everyone. And welcome back to the Judge Bernard Show here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com and revolution.radio. As well, we are simulcasting live on my Facebook page at facebook.com/Bernard Alex Alvarez. As you may or may not know, Revolution Radio is the #1 listener-supported radio station in the world. So if you can, please head on over to revolution.radio and make a small donation and keep all the wonderful programs we have on this network going. We got Studio A, Studio B, and shows 24/7, 7 days a week, reaching around the entire world. As well, if you like the work that I do here on the radio show, as well as on Facebook and my YouTube channel and my website and all the other great stuff that I do, head on over to patreon.com/Bernard Alvarez and become a patron. You can actually sign up for Patreon for free, but if you make a micro donation of $2 a month or more, it will give you access to some patron-only material that I have there, including my 2-hour lecture on how to connect with your spirit guides and communicate with your higher self. You get a free copy of my book, The Book of One, a PDF copy, downloadable, and many other wonderful little things like MP3 shows and whatnot that you can download and take with you. Anyway, so today we are speaking with the Joan of Angels, and before the break, Joan, you were about to share with us a little bit about a reading that you had done, and you wanted to share something with us about that.
So the young woman, thank you so much, Bernard, for remembering. The young woman was in a wheelchair, and she had been paralyzed when she was 14 after a motorcycle accident, which her father had. She'd been on the back of her father was driving. She was on the back of the bike, and he was fine, and she ended up losing her legs, or the use of her legs, and she had never talked to her father since. And I'm doing a reading for her, and suddenly I had this sense of the soul contracts that they had made before they came in this lifetime, that he had so loved her that the agreement was that he would be the cause of this accident, which would then teach her that her path of independence is going to always lie from inside of her and not from the outside. Okay, learning that huge lesson. And also, I've learned since that souls line up to get into a body that is going to be paralyzed so that they can learn that lesson. But the big takeaway was that in spirit, her father had so loved her that he agreed to do that. And that changed what I started to see in relationships. If you've been abused or traumatized, it just doesn't justify or free it, but it does make you understand that these were some of the lessons that you agreed to when you came in this lifetime, and replaying certain past karmic episodes so you can learn. So as hard as it is, it's been your teaching tool so you could become a 10, a master this life.
Right on.
Do you hear my computer just went bing?
Are you getting a message?
I think so.
So, Joan, let me ask you then. Tell us, I'm very interested to hear more about the way you manifest the images of these angelic beings. And I have been posting some images, and I'm hoping one or two of them have been the images that you've painted, that you sent me. How does this work happen? What is the significance of it, and how does it help people?
Well, so great question, because the art does several things. The art will, number one, act as an oracle tool or an activation tool. And so it can become a source of wisdom, of channeling, of new information that you can receive from the painting. The painting itself reflects a higher vibratory frequency, which will actually help your frequency attune to the higher levels. So even your room will be in a higher energy. Or for instance, when I test people doing what I showed you before, but I'll do it with muscle testing in a big group, I may test someone and their energy is like a 2, and then I'll put one of my scarves on them of these divine beings and they'll be a 10. In fact, you won't be able to shake their energy field. So the art acts to raise your vibrational frequency. It acts as a healer. It acts to give you information. Art comes to me in several ways. Some of the art is what I call portal art and frequency ascension art. And so some of the art are like temples. Going into the temples, you'll see stairs. And just recently, my guides told me 2 years ago, I'm a cosmic ascension oracle trainer. It took me 2 years to understand that, Bernard. Okay, but the art itself taught me. Okay, I was doing my coaching with someone, and I said, well, wow, I think you're now in level 2 of initiation. And I turned my head, And I saw the painting, and I was like, I knew there's 7 levels in these paintings to get to the doorway of heaven, which is part of my job. So the art is a guide to getting there, and it's a master teaching tool for many people on that journey. I invite people to work with me and go through the levels of mastery. We start by turning your power on. I teach you that. That's, very basic, level 1, and then show you how to clear your field. And then we start on a higher level of helping clear your field so you can become the master you came here to be. And the art, actually, almost everyone who becomes a student has art that's in this sanctuary, or art that will be painted.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it happens.
That's great. That's wonderful. And we have a question, actually, and this is going back a little bit. Someone is asking, Joan, what is your method of putting up shields?
Oh, even that's a great question. So
Yes.
that's a lot of change. I used to think I just put this egg up, and then that didn't work. So here's how I do it. I send my roots down, and I teach this, by the way. If you go on my YouTube channel, there's a section called 44 Days of Awakening.
Oh, great.
And I start teaching that. I go through every card of my Oracle deck that I teach these tools, okay? Just so you know where to get them, guys.
Yeah.
So I was putting your roots down to the center of the earth first, and then after we ground down in the very deep part of the center, I send my antenna up to the heavens, and I ground it that way. And then I sort of see myself in this kind of cosmic uniform. I don't know, it's the best way I could describe it is as if it's some kind of invisible shielding that wraps itself around me. And it actually wraps around the antenna, which goes all the way up. So I'm completely protected, but my roots go down. And so I have this very close protection that has me still receiving information through the universe. And then I can beam that up. And then I check with my I use my dowsing tools, my pendulum. I'll say, what level am I connected? I'll actually ask to see if I'm connected at a 10. Oh, and I teach people, I can't do it here, but a protocol on how to leave your house and go to work and come home.
Oh, while maintaining your shield?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So I've been designing protocols to teach on that. Mm-hmm.
That's wonderful. We all need that. We really do. And, I actually have a great video on that as well. But, to remember to do it every single day. And we get so caught up in our routine. Again, I'm one of those people that my life is scheduled a month and a half in advance, almost every minute of my day, of every week, unfortunately. And my morning meditation is what it is, and then sometimes it'll change. I'll forget to do the shielding, or I'll forget to do the raising of the vibration, or whatnot. So yes, it's important to remember to do these protocols to ourselves. And I know a lot of people are like, "What are they talking about?" The reality of it is that energy work is a part of this path. I mean, we must have, as Joan says, protocols or practices. Where we do know the basics of grounding, where we do know the basics of, creating that antenna to go up above and connect to the universe. So I call this a form of spiritual alchemy, for lack of a better term, and I'm sure Joan sees its significance in this type of energy work being done every day, right?
Well, okay, we're constantly under attack now. Food, clothing, shelter. Everything is sort of at a lower frequency around us in the environment. So if you want to be protected from all of that, which drains your energy, even the chemtrails, then you need to raise your frequency from the inside out. It's the only way to do that. And it's the only way to raise the highest light frequencies of the planet here to start shifting to the new light energies.
Yeah. And not get pulled down into that muck and stuck.
Right, because you asked, how do we not fall into the 3D life? And there's only one way, which is to practice working with this all the time.
Yeah.
So so I don't know how to teach people. I do. I thought those movable screens you put it right by your front door, and when you get home, you put the screen right in front of that door.
Oh, there you go.
In the morning when you leave for work, the screen is right in front of you. We have to train ourselves. And actually, my guides have shown me when I'm off the path really fast. They really do. I call them angel slaps.
Yeah.
So honestly, the higher the vibrational frequency, the more you're going to get the angel slaps to put you in the right direction.
I couldn't agree more with that, and God knows I've experienced it. They do shake you up a little bit when you're not doing what you're supposed to. Joan, you just released what is it, Oracle cards in January?
Yes,
Tell
I
us
did.
a bit about the Oracle deck, and maybe share a little bit with us about that.
Well, first of all, wait till I tell you about the deck. What happened was around November, October of last fall, I started to get messages from the Masters of Miracles. And they came to me. They wanted to be on a deck. They just started dancing. Literally, one night I was sitting there. You ask, how I see them. Well, in this particular way, they came to me like a card deck in Vegas when he's getting all those cards ready to shuffle for blackjack. And they used to, in the old days, I guess, hold them in their hand. They do this dance. So they came to me and danced. And they said, we're the Masters of Miracles. So 44 of my paintings of my original art went into the cards. And so there's 44 cards. Starting in January, we launched, and Neil actually helped. Portal to Ascension was my sponsor. But I did 44 days of videos that I put up a day for each card. So I taught you how I used that card. I showed you the original art if I still had it. Told you some stories about it. I couldn't believe after 44 days, I probably had another 44 days worth of stories. And then that's the deck. So it's called Miracle Messages. You can get them off my website. And I'll be talking about them at the Portal to Ascension, which is going to happen in October of 2018.
Oh, it's in October. Okay, very good. I couldn't remember the dates. I'm so glad to hear that. You reminded me. Thank you for that. And I keep posting, I believe it's a book cover. Is that your book, the Masters of Miracles?
The book cover you're posting, is that, so if it says the Masters of Miracles,
yes,
it's the cards themselves.
Oh, okay.
Okay, maybe an image of the cards. The book that I wrote is called The Miracle Makers Club, and it's, I don't know if I sent you that. It's a picture of the light of God touching the hand of humanity and waking them up. And that book is called The Miracle Makers Club, because I'm the founder of the Miracle Makers Club. Okay?
Wonderful.
So, but I'd love to pull a card for you and for everyone.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
On your deck. So I'm going to ask this question. What is for the highest message that I could give as inspiration and messages that will support people on their soul mission right now, listening to the show with Bernard and myself. Bernard, who's also another spiritual healer. What message? Okay, here it is. Oh, okay. It's a card from the spirit, the star being named Adana. I will send you her picture after. I'll post it for you on Facebook.
Yeah.
Adana is one of the original beings that came to me, the ones that told me they were earth messengers being sent by the divine. And she is a star being. And she came down to the Dagonas tribe to teach them all of the feminine arts and astrology, astronomy, fertility, herbology, planting, domestication, all sorts of skills of weaving and numerology and runes. So she taught them all the ancient wisdom. And the card itself says, I radiate beauty from the inside out. Miracles manifest wherever I set my intention. And so she's very, very beautiful. There's gold light coming from her eyes. And when I painted her, I did have my eyes shut. and I heard this voice that said, I want a nose ring. And I said, well, I don't do nose rings. And, you don't turn them down here. So what happened was my whole body shifted. There were people in the room. They noticed this. And I heard her, like, call me to attention. It was like, beloved, you are to paint me as I am, not as you want me to be. So there I was, out of integrity, because what am I, just a paintbrush? I'm not supposed to have an opinion about the nose ring.
Right. It's very humbling, right?
So I learned early on that I wasn't in charge, but she's very beautiful. I radiate beauty. So we radiate beauty from the inside out. And wherever we set our intentions, alone and individually and collectively, we can manifest miracles. We can raise the frequency.
Yes, amen. Joan, tell us a bit about your book, The Masters of Miracles.
So I don't yet have a book, The Masters of Miracles, but the Miracle Makers Club.
Oh, Miracle Makers Club. Thank you.
The Miracle Makers Club. So I wrote that many years ago after I had my children and I lost everything. I was a single mom, and I had a daughter 10, a son 8, and we had lost everything. And I had been such a teacher of manifesting and masterminding, and then I had sunk so low when I had stopped doing that inner work. So because if you have the gift and you don't use it, you lose it. And so I was pretty despairing, and the only people I had to mastermind with were my children. So I turned to my children, and we started chanting and setting visualizations and intentions. And my daughter came up with the name, okay, let's call ourselves the Miracle Makers Club. And so we set our intentions for what we wanted when we would be able to get money again in our life and live a normal life again. And lo and behold, after a few years, almost everything we set in motion happened. And that is in the book. It's a story, and I have all the tools. So I'm a tools woman. I have all the tools that you need to really activate miracles in your life, which is, again, how you align yourself and you raise your vibration.
Yeah. Well, that's very good to know. And speaking of that, people are interested in getting in contact with you and perhaps setting up some time with you. Where can they do that?
I would love to do that with your people. I have a special program called Power On, where I offer a 30-minute session where we help you align with your destiny and what you're here to do, kind of look at the big picture. And then the second session includes what I call Power On. It's the first step in learning how to turn on that master switch that I've been telling you about. So I actually teach you how to do it. And so I have that special for your people. You can go on my website. My website's at www.joanofangels.com. So it's joanofangels.com. And you can work with me in that way and learn to turn your power on. It's really, really powerful. And it is the first step into mastery, really. So thank you for asking.
Oh, we're very happy to. Absolutely. Someone is asking about auras. That's very funny. That it's not funny. It's interesting that always pops up when I have guests like yourself come on the show. And I cannot see an aura for the life of me. I'm very clear. How do we say it? I feel. I sense, I hear, but gosh forbid, I don't see unless literally it's a light being manifesting itself literally in front of me, which has only happened 3 times in my life. But I can't see auras. Someone's asking, do you have any advice for people that only see darkness, that they can't see auras?
Well, that's kind of interesting. I learned to see them when I was very young. I didn't realize I was seeing them until my sister-in-law actually pointed out. If you look at someone who is standing either on stage with a white background behind them, or in your house, have someone stand with a white background and light around them, light on, and then you move your eyes away or they move, you'll catch a glimpse of their auric field. However, it's really easy and fun to do it with dowsing rods also. And I know, Bernard, you're very sensitive. I'd actually like to teach you how to do this a separate time.
Sure.
Because it's the most fun thing is to be able to work with someone's energy field with these dowsing rods. And the dowsing rods will show you where their aura ends. And then you could teach them how to open up to more light and send love. And then you can actually see how their auric field pushes out further and further and further. So very exciting.
Oh, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
I love dowsing, and I'm great with a pendulum, but but I can't see the light for the life of me unless I go into a trance or something. Tell us a bit about Portal to Ascension, because we've got about 5 more minutes left, and I'm very interested. I'm sure everybody's very interested in hearing about what you're going to be talking about. What is the name of your presentation, and what are some of the subject matter you're going to be discussing at the Portal of Ascension conference?
Oh my God, Neil just shared the whole thing with me, so I have the exact title, but I'm going to get it. So what I'm going to be sharing is basically how to activate miracles around you and then step into and connect with your divine beings and your guides and your angels. And I teach my processes of how to align your body, mind, and spirit, how to open up your higher self, and how to really step into your purpose and your mission. Some of the class will be channeled directly, so that the guided meditation that I'll take you through will be directly what Spirit wants at that exact moment. And so it sort of depends on, but what we will probably be doing, they're showing it to me anyway. I'll be taking you through different portals, and we'll be learning how to raise our vibration so that we can literally come together and do global healing. And because that's what they're actually showing me is the most important. I'm going to teach you how to use this to raise not only your own frequency, but to become a miracle maker, global ascension portal being for others. So here it is exactly. So I finally found it on my Facebook page. Here we go. It's going to be a great conference. I know a lot of the speakers, by the way. Dr. Dream, if you like him, is going to be there with Bowles. Alan Steinfeld, Robert Perala, Grant Cameron, just lots of wonderful information. Joan Hangarter, that's me. So I will be teaching, I think my class is on Friday morning. So we're going to look for me then. Oh, look, I can even click on me right here. Joan Hangarter. So I'll be Friday morning, but the most important thing for all of you guys is I'm going to have a booth and a table. I will have some of my art, some of your clay, so I'll have inexpensive pieces that are considered high portals and dimensions. I will be available to book appointments. Just meeting me, some people say they get well just meeting me, they have miracles. And also I will have my angel wear. So I'll have medallions, cards, scarves, and things that raise your frequency to where you want to be. And I love sharing this work with people. I'm just so happy being a miracle maker myself. And I have Ascension Heart, so I'm excited to be there. The conference dates, just for you, Bernard, and all your listeners, is October 5th, 6th, and 7th. We're in Irvine. So we are in Irvine, and I think I am on Friday morning.
Great. Oh, good. That gives me plenty of time to interview more of the guests before October. Interview some of the speakers before October.
Please, please. This is exciting. I'm going to post it everywhere. In fact, I'm going to post a newsletter and include this interview. So that's exciting.
And I don't know if you'll be able to answer this. I know Neil's going to be coming on, I think, in about 3 or 4 weeks. I'm just wondering if they're going to be live streaming, and if our people going to be able to purchase access for that conference online. I think he did it last year or last time, but
absolutely.
Do you know if he's doing that yet?
Yes, he will absolutely live stream. You could think in your head, Bernard, that Portal to Ascension, Neil, live streaming, they're all one breath.
Yeah, right.
He live streams everything, and rightly so. In fact, for all your listeners, I'm actually, there's a channel on Portal to Ascension for Joan Handgarter or Joan of Angels, however they put me, Joan of Angels, and there is a whole portal. You can hear some of the workshops I've done, and we also have freebies, and that gets me to the other thing. My YouTube page has 44 days of awakening in 2018, awakening to miracles. And I will tell you, people are getting tremendous. I'd be so honored if you go and listen. People are getting great confirmations there.
Oh, good. And my words escape me because this work and people doing the work like yourself is just so important right now in this world. We all have our own different way of sharing this information. So specific people can get that particular message, and it's just so important that we continue to support other light workers and continue to do the work of ascension and awakening on an individual level. And I'm so grateful that you're doing this, Joan, and I just adore your energy, so thank you so much.
That's sweet. Thank you. Well, you know what? I am finding, and they said this to me in the beginning, my guides only showed me one thing at a time, like paint 33 angels. I go, what am I supposed to do with them? And they would just make me wait one thing at a time.
Right. Oh, well, Joan, we're out of time already. My goodness, this went by quickly. Anyway, everyone, I want to thank you all so much for joining us today. My cat just on my lap. Next week, I'll be doing my live Q&A. So if you haven't sent me your questions yet for the live Q&A, do it now. I am starting my list, and I'll see you next week. I love you. Bye-bye.